Hello and welcome, this is Marina Kim with the latest updates from Kazakhstan. The Tuesday protest action of shared construction interest holders in Astana has ended with a brawl and detention of activists. The police dispersed the rally after the crowd made an attempt to approach the state parliament building. In total, 50 protesters were detained.
All protesters hold interest in the shared construction of several residential complexes in Astana. Most of them have invested into a number of apartments. Now they demand the government to recall its recent regulation, according to which interest holders that own more than one apartment will lose the other one. The action lasted for 20 minutes before the police special task unit dispersed the rally. While several dozen protesters managed to escape, those resisting the police were forced into a bus and taken to the district police department.
Where does this money go? Why are construction projects are not being completed? The president has said that anyone can purchase up to 10 apartments, while most of us have purchased only 2. This can be easily checked.
All those detained were later released after being served with warnings. These picket participants called the government's regulation unconstitutional, in violating of the rights and inviolability of housing. Numerous appeals to courts and prosecutor's office were ignored by the authorities, and now the interest holders promise more radical measures if the government will not meet their demands. This, however, will not likely to happen, since the government has agreed to meet the activists and discuss this issue on May 21st.
The attempts to be heard by the Prime Minister and cabinet members failed, as Karim Masimov and other officials were busy discussing the role of the state language within the national unity doctrine. On Tuesday, the government approved the action plan for the doctrine's implementation in 2010.
The document proclaims the principles of one country, one destiny, different origin, equal opportunities, and development of national spirit. Prime Minister Masimov said that he will personally monitor the implementation of the doctrine and that the cabinet must provide regular process reports. President Nazarbayev has approved the doctrine of the national unity back in April, following its earlier approval by the Kazakh National Assembly.
After the decision is made, all ministries have to include events for the implementation of the doctrine's key priorities in the strategy action plan within their authorities and functional responsibilities.
The doctrine also sees a revival of elderly councils, mechanisms used in the pre-communism era, where distinguishing elders of the nation were responsible for coming up with socially important resolutions. Modern representatives of the aged political and cultural elite welcomes the initiative, but expresses concerns that the advisory institution might become a decorative and nominal body devoted to backing up the will of a single person.
Soon Council of Elders will be created in Kazakhstan. Necessary norms was included in the draft of the National Unity Doctrine developed by the administration of the President Nazarbayev. The elders should make resolutions about any significant issues, although their verdict will be only considered as recommendations.
Councils will include representatives of the Parliament and the Veterans Council, among others. The terms of its creation will be determined in the next couple of months.
This haste makes elders believe that the government is simply jealous, and this could be a present for Nazarbayev's anniversary. After all, the parliament has already came up with the leader of the nation ideas as the president opponent and political elder Serik Bolsin Abdildin.
Such a council is created in order to keep everyone necessary close by. There are people who worked with Nazarbayev for a long time, and they, to a certain degree, support, agree and echo him, as well as implement anti-democratic and anti-popular measures sometimes.
The creative intelligentsia elders are not as categorical, recalling the times of Abay. Standing next to the portrait of the great classic, dramatist Dulat Isabekov says that even back then, elders served only as mediators of the already taken decisions.
Elders reported to Abay's father Kunanbay. They were used to do everything from good to cruel things. Obviously, it doesn't matter what elders think, as the decision has been already approved in certain circles.
Everything depends on the council's composition, says the leader of Kazakh agrarian Gani Galiyev.
If the council will include only big officials and complacent MPs, then this will be just as artificial body, just like our parliament.
The elders do not object the revival of historical mechanisms. There are, however, concerns that in present political climate, they will represent only a nominal body, implementing desires of political elite. Many believe that this approach could very well erase the line between political elder and political corpse.
The government and Kazakhstan financial authorities should focus on efforts to restrain the inflation rates. Experts say that recent initiative of the Economy Ministry to regulate the food prices will not solve the problem and instead worsen the situation for businesses. Analysts from Halyk Finance say that the National Bank should take some serious steps, as otherwise the inflation rate will reach 10% by the end of the year, exceeding the early forecasts.
Businessman Peter Potapov is skeptical about the minister's initiative to regulate the food prices. In his opinion, officials are returning to the old Soviet State Planning Committee system. The entrepreneur is confident that this project is aimed to decrease the social tensions. Prices will grow, inflation accumulated, and all burdens will be placed on the business.
We are currently moving back to the old ways of the economy regulation, and our government introduces these pseudo-measures instead of supporting domestic producers.
The National Bank forecasted the inflation at the level of 6 to 8% for 2010. Analysts of Halyk Finance have slightly different numbers at 9 to 10%. If they are right, time will play against the monetary authorities, and forecasts even for 2011 will not come true. Experts revealed these numbers in their weekly review, although refusing to elaborate on the issue.
Our department was generally ready to give an interview because we already have the numbers, but the leadership decided against it.
For now, the National Bank continues to assure the inflow of dollars for the support of the tenge. According to some sources, the amount as questioned surpassed several billions. Analyst Borzhan Tsulepov says that actions of the cabinet and monetary authorities contradict each other.
If the government makes the decisions to enlarge the monetary base by increasing the state expenditures, the National Bank has no option but to regulate this by applying such methods as revaluation of the national currency.
In his opinion, Kazakh economy has up to $10 billion worth of free liquidities, and this inflow of cash is ensured by high oil prices. Borzhan Tsulepov believes that it is necessary to keep this in reserve, as otherwise the state will repeat the same errors that provoked the crisis.
According to another sad economic forecast, Kazakhstan is under the threat of a new financial crisis, which could lead to the most unexpected consequences. Experts warn that the depression will continue until the fundamental economic principles will be reconsidered.
Kazakhstan is on the brink of another financial crisis. This pessimistic view was voiced during the Almaty Roundtable, Countries of the Customs Union, the Crisis and Post-Crisis Recovery.
Although some people say that everything seems fine right now, the truth is there will be a second wave, although I believe it will be not just a wave, but the beginning of the next crisis.
Experts and analysts from Russia, Belarus and Kazakhstan discussed the experience of overcoming economic recession in the countries of the Customs Union. The points of view are contradictory. The engaged by the authorities Kazakh scientists say that the country has already overcome the crisis, displaying drop in unemployment rates and the GDP growth.
Due to the large accumulated reserves, we managed to overcome the most difficult phase of the crisis without major system losses.
Alexander Daunov is confident that the government of Kazakhstan undertook timely and effective measures for fighting the world economic crisis. Kanat Birintayev is more reserved in his estimations.
In my opinion, it would be too noble to say that the government took measures for the rescuing of the economy as a whole. In fact, we witnessed the priority support being provided to businesses affiliated with the government and other authorities.
Thus far, analysts have yet to reach unanimous opinion concerning measures that will be taken by the Kazakh government during the second wave of the old and the first wave of the new crisis. They, however, agree that it is clear that the business belonging to clans will not be left without the budget support.